Shalom, and welcome again to Covenant to Life and the Homeward Bound Covenant series. I'm Lloyd Willard.
I'm Terry Hetland.
I'm Roxy Kwan.
This segment is titled Noahic Covenant, Part 2. If you are new with the study, this session is the continuum of the study of the covenant Yahuwah made with Noah. Part 1 ended with Genesis chapter 7, verses 5, just 7 days from the beginning of the great rain that would cover the earth. The following is a testimonial of the adequacy of Noah's actions, and Noah did according to all Yahuwah commanded him. The summary account from Genesis 7, verse 13 to 16, leads us to the great deluge. Terry, would you read this?
Sure. In the selfsame day entered Noah, and Shem, and Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, into the ark. They and every beast after its kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, in which is the breath of life. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as Elohim commanded them. And Yahuwah shut him in.
And now it all begins.
The account continues in verse 17 through 19, and reads as follows. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased, and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. And the waters prevailed and increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high mountains that were under the whole heaven were covered.
Let's pause here and consider what has occurred to this point. The focus of mankind has turned to complete wickedness. Noah and his family have been singled out to be rescued and carry the human race forward. They alone would be the recipients of the covenant. Following the instructions of Yahuwah, Noah and his family have just constructed a floating ark of massive proportions to the specifications they've been given. Animals, birds, and creatures were selected in pairs. Clean animals were selected in 7-pair groups. The ark is loaded, and then Genesis 7:16 tells us that Yahuwah shut him in.
Now the storm arrives. We won't read the entire text of the flood, but in Genesis 7:21 to 24, we can imagine through this narrative account the magnitude of what has just occurred.
And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both birds and cattle and beasts, and every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life, of all that was on the dry land, died. And every living thing was destroyed from the earth, and Noah only was left, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days.
There is so much packed into the Genesis flood account, both in detail and symbolism that would be carried forward. However, in order to focus on the covenant elements of Noah's experience, we're going to bypass the remainder of the storm to the unloading of the ark in Genesis 8, verse 18 to 20.
And Noah went forth, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him. Every beast, every creeping thing, and every bird, everything that moves upon the earth, after their families, went forth out of the ark. And Noah built an altar unto Yahuwah, and took of every clean beast, and of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar.
A question for you. What is the first event that is described following the unloading of the ark? Noah builds an altar and sacrifices the clean animals. And here we observe there was an understanding by Noah of the purpose of the clean and unclean animals. The clean animals were included in greater numbers, 7 pairs, because some of them would be the reproductive pairs that would be used for sacrifice. No further explanation is given within this account. In verse 8, chapter 8, verse 21 to chapter 9, verse 1, we see the response of Yahuwah.
And Yahuwah smelled the sweet savor, and Yahuwah said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake, for that the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again destroy any more every living thing as I have done. While the earth remains, seeds time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. And Elohim blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth. What isn't specifically stated in this account is that the building of the altar and the sacrificing of the animals designated as clean is almost certainly covenant activity. As we will see when we proceed to the Abrahamic and the Mosaic covenants later in this series, these activities would be repeated. Let's now fast forward to Genesis 9, 8 through 14. And Elohim spoke to Noah and to his sons with him, saying, And behold, I establish my covenant with you, and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the cattle, and every beast of the earth with you, of all that go out of the ark, even every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you, neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of the flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. And Elohim said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud.
Here we see that a covenant has been established which will extend beyond Noah's lifetime. Indeed, the covenant would be introduced to all humanity and the creatures of the earth too. Yahuwah would not destroy all flesh in this manner again. So we read in verse 12 that a token would be given as a lasting reminder of this commitment from our Creator. The word that has been translated token is the Hebrew word oth. It generally means a sign. This word is a pretty powerful word though, something beyond just looking at a man-made stop sign and knowing that it means to stop. To close this chapter on a thought-provoking note, let's look back into the ancient world of the Hebrew letters to see if we can glean what an oth is. What was Yahuwah saying to Noah when he said, I will set a token or an oth? Before Hebrew developed into the familiar black letters found in the Hebrew Bible, they were pictograms. The alphabet originally was pictographic. This included the period before Moses to the Babylonian exile. Pictograms are helpful to find out how a picture word was formed out of picture letters. Take a look at these symbols and their meaning in the Hebrew word for oth. The first letter, Aleph, originally was a pictogram of a bull's head. It symbolized strength, authority, and power, represented also as the head or chief, standing alone. The next pictographic letter, Vav, symbolized a peg or nail. Its function was to fasten or connect. Therefore, because a nail is symbolized, the tool not only fastens, but etches. The nail, before the chisel, was a scrawling tool. The last letter, Tav, represented a cross mark or X mark. It meant to mark, sign, signal, or write.
As we look at the compound meaning of these letters, which are themselves symbols, we see first Aleph, strength and authority in the bull's head. Second, Vav, securing or scribing with a peg. And third, Tav, a mark or sign. With strength and authority, securing a sign. One with strength and authority, securing a sign. This is fun to ponder on, and it is important since this principle usually accompanies covenant discussions. With this covenant, a sign would span all generations. Who but the Creator could implement such a sign? Who but the Creator could implement that sign?
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.